Hi there, thank you for watching this YouTube video. Today I am reviewing the entirety of the Lego Monkie Kid theme. This movie series is split up into 5 separate episodes which are set into sections. Each is made up of around 30 minutes. Now, let's get into the video! Warning, there are severe spoilers here, and I highly recommend watching the entirety of the show before deciding to watch the rest of this video. You have been warned. Before I even started to write the script, I went and rewatched the entire show and took a lot of notes to ensure that I don't mix up any facts or omit any important details. This is part 2 of reviewing the show, and this time we are reviewing maybe the worst season in the entirety of Lego Monkie Kid, and that is Season 2. This season brings in the Spider Queen, who we did see in an episode of Season 1 in which she managed to grab some of MK's hair. Now, the Spider Queen is the worst villain. Like, bad enough, I would prefer a full season on Jin and Yin instead of her. The Spider Queen's motives are all so weak, and kind of feels just like a filler villain, which I guess that is what she was. But I'll get into that later. I will say right now that it will definitely get leagues better the later we go on down the show. But there were episodes that I genuinely enjoyed, and are now some of my favorite episodes in the entire show. This season starts off with a special, which is the last time this show starts off their season with a special. As in 3 and 4, they end the season with a special. The special is called Revenge of the Spider Queen, and it starts off with Monkey Kid and Monkey King training in the Flower Fruit Mountain on Lunar New Year when Monkey King teaches MK about the powers of misdirection, which does seem like a shady lesson. Basically, it was that he put MK where he wanted by putting himself where MK wanted. They finish up practicing, and Monkey King invites MK to watch the fireworks with him. But he's also gotten invited by his friends as well, but he decides to stay with Monkey King. Meanwhile, Pigsy is characteristically very, very angry because MK was supposed to help him with the Lunar New Year orders, as Pigsy has opened up a stall there. Sandy comes in with literal arms full of just stuffed animals and many, many prizes. But meanwhile, the Spider Queen is trying to make herself extremely powerful by using the couple strands of hair she got from Season 1. She has failed far too many times and is now down to the last strand. She puts it in and it doesn't work. However, Destiny has something else to say about that. The Lady Bone Demon, which was the same power source that had previously driven a Demon Bull King mad in Season 1, appeared, but this time in the form of a little girl. She tells the Spider Queen she has come to help her with her destiny, and gives her another source of power, one far more useful, and luckily it works this time. She doesn't say what the Spider Queen's destiny is until the near end of the season, which you'll have to keep on watching till we get there. The Spider Queen becomes extremely powerful with the magic that the Lady Bone Demon gave her, and she develops a serum that, if injected into civilians, they become her own spider minions. She also manages to make a giant arachnoid crawler, but meanwhile, Tang, Pigsy, and Sandy are all looking at the Lunar New Year floats when a dragon float comes in, and a spider float too. Wait, that's gotta be wrong. I'm sure it's just an 8-legged rooster or something like that, and definitely can't be the Spider Queen. Right? Right? What a surprise it was! It's the Spider Queen. Who would have guessed? Not me. Anyways, the Spider Queen manages to turn everyone into spiders, but coincidentally, not Pigsy, Tang, or Sandy. The Spider Queen manages to completely take over the city, as there was nobody protecting them. Wait a minute. Where was MK and Monkey King? Well, they were watching the fireworks when they mysteriously stopped. Monkey King uses his gold vision and sees that something's happened, so MK leaves to stop it. But nobody messes with Monkey King's fireworks, so he has to come too. They arrive there, but since MK has the largest fear of arachnophobia I have seen in a very long while, Monkey King puts him down and goes solo. He starts fighting the Spider Queen and is winning when the Lady Bone Demon arrives and beats him, and as a result, captures him. Meanwhile, Fredson and DBK are operating a food stall of all things with some extremely spicy food. to the point that the employee who worked in a shoe store all the way back in the Season 1 special got the mildest version and was still dying of spice, which would be terrible for me as I have literally no spice tolerance in the least. Anyways, the Spider Queen finds Red Sun and DBK, and she manages to capture the Demon Bull King. But Red Sun manages to make it out alive, and with one of the canisters of the Spider Queen's venom canisters, and leaves with his jet on the search of a way to create a cure for spiderized civilians. Meanwhile, the Demon Bull King sees everyone else in there that has been captured too, including Monkey King, which makes him extremely angry, since they're not exactly the bestest of friends, and want to break out to attack him. Whilst that's happening, Sandy, May, Tang, and Pigsy are all on the boat, trying to escape from the spider nightmare, and they believe them MK is with Monkey King, which isn't true. They manage to escape with 3 of the Spider-Mans directly on their tail, but one of them, by the name of Hunter, does manage to put a spider-themed tracker on. They go on a giant drone copter when MK arrives and tells them that Monkey King was captured, when Red Sun's jet gets hit and crash lands onto the drone copter. He says that he's working on an antidote for the serum, and reluctantly they decide to team up and go to the Celestial Realms. They're looking for some very specific ingredients that all correlate to a part of Monkey King's story in A Journey to the West, which is great since I love it when they include little references to his past. They require the Peaches of Immortality that Monkey King ate, Lousy's Celestial Pill that Monkey King also ate, and the famous Trigram Furnace that Monkey King got trapped in, which surprisingly made him more powerful. May goes with Red Sun to obtain a Peach of Immortality, since they still don't trust Red Sun, with Tang and Pigsy going to find the Celestial Pills, since Pigsy doesn't know what they look like, but Tang knows really well what they do look like, and MK goes alone to find a Trigram Furnace, with Sandy and Mo repairing the drone copter since it got heavily damaged during the trip into the Celestial Realm, when Mo spots an ominously themed spider tracker and breaks the tracker. But they don't think much of it anyways. MK goes into the heavenly halls and finds a Trigram Furnace, but he starts getting chased by a bunch of Celestial Lions, so he decides to jump in the furnace, which does trap himself in there. Meanwhile, Red Sun and May get to the Heavenly Orchard, when May, being May, decides to annoy Red Sun by calling him a hero, but they are getting very quietly watched by a really buff spider minion. Tang and Pigsy are looking for Lousy's pill and find it rather quite fast, but they start getting chased by the Hunter Spider Demon. Meanwhile, MK feels real down since he kind of just trapped himself in the Trigram Furnace, and realizes that nobody's going to save him now, as he starts talking to his own reflection, which is a really funny moment. Red Sun and May grab the Peach of Immortality when they finally notice Spider Demon and start running, with Red Sun on May's back. Tang and Pigsy are getting hunted by, Hunter, when they see a canister with a duck on it, which certainly means it's nothing bad, right? Well, they throw it and it completely sucks Hunter down into the ground. So Pigsy and Tang run away, with him hot on their tails. MK, still feeling down, starts talking with a reflection of himself in the furnace, until he finally regains his confidence and realizes that nobody's going to save him, and he needs to get out on his own. Pigsy and Tang run to the drone copter, telling him to start the jet, when Red Sun and May arrive and also tell him to start the jet, leaving MK. But MK uses the 2 Lion Guardians to do a giant jump and barely lands. Red Sun grabs the ingredients and starts making the antidote. But meanwhile, I just realized I've said meanwhile way too many times. Monkey King is being super annoying and is angering DBK in order to make them break out of the webs. Red Sun is crafting the antidote in a very specific order that only he knows. But MK still drops the last 2 ingredients in and surprisingly didn't fail. They grab the antidote, go back to the city, and use some sprayers on the drone copter to unspiderize everyone. The Spider Queen arrives and starts overpowering MK and his friends, but Monkey King manages to anger DBK enough that he breaks the webs and manages to free himself and Monkey King, and DBK leaves to find Red Sun. However, the Lady Bone Demon tells Monkey King that there's so much left to the game, and shows a vision of the future. a vision that she will take the staff and take over the city. Spider Queen's mech powers down, and she can't siphon as much power without both DBK and Monkey King, and they destroy the mech super easily. They celebrate together and have a happy new year. Now this special was kind of like 3 different plots at the same time, where the Spider Queen and the Lady Bone Demon as one plot, Monkey King and the Demon Bull King basically being another plot, and MK and his friends also another plot, which felt in the story feeling a little bit sporadic and weak. It also showed that there's something larger at work, not just the Spider Queen, and there is something more to this Lady Bone Demon that is yet to be revealed. But that ends off the Season 2 special, so we can go into Episode 1, Sleep Bug! This episode starts off showing the Spider Queen's defeat, but the Lady Bone Demon shows a plan on how to make a new mech, which needs 6 ingredients, with the first being in the cloud. But before I do that, I have to ask you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My goal is to get 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and I would highly appreciate it if you do subscribe. Every subscriber does matter to me, and let's go back into the video. Syntax, which is this techie spider demon who works for the Spider Queen, releases a hot new game called Sleep Bug. Download it now in the App Store. MK is talking with Monkey King as he is allegedly going on vacation to see some of his old friends, leaving MK to protect the city alone. Little does he know, Monkey King isn't actually going on vacation, but he's actually leaving to find a weapon powerful enough to defeat the Lady Bone Demon. He comes back to see all of his friends are all asleep because of the Sleep Bug game. Syntax arrives at the cloud, and the Guardians are all asleep as well because of the game, so he can just walk in with no trouble at all. MK is pulling a cart with pigs in it when he starts connecting the dots and realizes that he needs to go to the cloud to destroy the game so his friends can wake up. He abandons pigs in a shopping cart and leaves, and it starts going downhill fast. But MK arrives at the cloud and finds a sleep bug in the shape of literally an 8-bit bug. Funnily enough, he also runs into Syntax. What are the odds? Who sends the ancient guardians of knowledge to beat him up, and Syntax leaks of the first ingredient. MK destroys the sleep bug and signs up for the internet, making the guardians of knowledge friendly. Meanwhile, Pigsy wakes up to see that he's going really quickly down a hill and hits a building, breaking like all of his bones, which is a fun little scene to add in. Honestly, this episode was quite decent. It showed Monkey King leaving and the Spider Queen's plans, and ended on a fun little moment. The next episode, however, isn't as good. It's called Dumpling Destruction. Now, this episode starts off with Monkey King using Gold Vision to be able to talk with MK and tell him that allegedly he and his friends accidentally got into a food fight with his friends up in the Celestial Realm, and they accidentally dropped a dumpling, which is why there is a giant dumpling going down and would hit the entire city, and that he probably has some junk you can use in his treasure hoard. Allegedly. What actually happened was that he was interrogating someone about a mysterious skeleton demon, who we know is the Lady Bone Demon. MK decides to bring the smartest person he knows on an undoubtedly the most perilous mission yet. Tang. May gets super angry, saying it's a mission for them too, but to be fair, Tang does know a lot about the journey to the west, and as a result, would have a better idea what they should grab to break the giant dumpling. And so they grab a small jet with Tang driving it. But they crash land at the bottom, so MK has to carry Tang up the mountain, and they come in. However, somebody was watching him, Hunter. He snucks up into the Flower Fruit Mountain. Meanwhile, Tang notices that the dumpling looks like a type that has a scorching hot soup in it. So they start looking for the vase Guan Yin gave Monkey King in A Journey to the West, so that can hold a whole ocean worth of water, when they spot Hunter for searching for the demon revealing mirror. And MK starts fighting him and uses Gold Vision to find the vases at the same time. Hunter grabs the demon revealing mirror and quickly escapes, leaving Tang and MK to grab a vase, get out, and use it on a dumpling. It holds it all for 1 second, then it all bursts out, which means it's a mission failure. Honestly, this episode felt even more bland. I appreciated how they showed the MK and Tang friendship, but at times, it just felt so forced and boring. However, the next episode may be purely filler, but is the best filler episode ever. It is so chaotic and really funny, and it's called Pig Pong Panic. It starts out with Sandy teaching MK how to make his world-famous Sleepy Time tea leaves. But instead of adding just a pinch of Sleepy Time tea leaves, he dumps it all in. So, when Sandy takes a drink of the tea, he falls asleep almost immediately. Then, Monkey King teleports a package there and says, "Do not open no matter what. It's bad news." But, since he knows he's not going to listen, he gave a blindfold to help MK listen better. But obviously, he misinterprets it as him getting his next power, super hearing. He puts it on and hears Pigsy taking away the arcade machine. And randomly, it was getting replaced by a ping pong table, which Pigsy plays way too hard on. MK and May leave Pigsy. As MK left Sandy's belt, the crate opened up and a bunch of little green things came out. The little green things have trashed up Sandy's boat, put markers on Sandy, but luckily Mo is there to help. Tang finds Pigsy, and Pigsy challenges them to a very high-stakes game of ping pong. After all, free noodles for life if you beat him. Meanwhile, Mo grabs a power mech and sprays Sleepy Time tea leaves and all the green things, making them all asleep. MK still thinks Monkey King was talking about super hearing, and May says that it might be about listening good. But isn't that the same thing? They find Pigsy again and start walking on a literal mountain of bodies, as Pigsy has gone mad with ping pong, and MK challenges them. They play the craziest match of ping pong ever, and he finally understands what Monkey King meant by listening. So he remembers what Pigsy said, "As long as this table's here, I won't stop. I'll never stop." So he runs up and breaks the table with the ball, which is insane. I don't think they know what ping pong is, because this definitely isn't it. They all go back when Mo finally traps all of the green things into the box again. MK wants to open the box, but Mo scratches his face, indicating that they should never open it. This episode is one of my most favorite episodes of all time. It's super lighthearted and one of the most underrated episodes. I really liked the Mo subplot because it was really pretty funny at the end, and actually made it feel that Mo had to do something. The ping pong, if you can even call it that, well, it's really not ping pong, had some insane animation. The next episode, Sweet and Sour, is a bit worse in my opinion, but it's still pretty good. It starts off with Monkey Kid delivering some noodles when he gets beat up by the Speedy Panda delivery brickheads. Which is odd because he has some crazy powers, but he still can't defend himself. Anyways, Monkey Kid goes back and Pigsy, being Pigsy, insults Tang when he gets a message from Speedy Panda as they challenge him to Food Wars. What is Food Wars anyways? Food Wars is the ultimate arena for chefs to duke it out, and they accept. They go there to see Jin and Yen. Y'all remember now? The side characters who think they stand a chance? Because MK definitely didn't. They made a plan to put Pigsy's noodles out of business so MK will starve, and which will make him weak so they can finally defeat him. There's 3 rounds in the competition. Round 1, Delivery Madness. They must grab and make the food so they can deliver it first. MK gets beat up by the Speedy Panda delivery drivers, but they cook their food with Jin and Yin, just giving microwavable flash food, and they win that round because they was first. Round 2, the taste test, featuring Princess Iron Fan, merely here to settle a debt for Jin and Yin. However, Monkey King came as well. Oh wait, it's just a cardboard cutout of him. And finally, Tang. Pigsy becomes super stressed because he's worried that Tang would vote against them because of how much he mistreats him. Princess Ironfan votes on Jin and Yin. Tang votes on Pigsy, resulting in a tie since Monkey King is just a cutout. Except he falls in a soup, resulting on him voting on Pigsy's noodle. So they win round 2. It all comes down to the final round. And they make a bet. The loser has to close their restaurant forever. Well, round 3 is mascot combat. Jin and Yin have a giant death machine, but Pigsy and MK just have a little truck. However, it can't be all over for Pigsy's noodles, can it? MK helps Pigsy and makes a giant death machine too. And right as they were about to fight it out, Speedy Panda becomes bankrupt and loses. Honestly, this episode was fine. It wasn't anything special, but it was cool nonetheless. At least the next episode actually is important to the plot. It's called minor scale and starts off with Monkey King getting crushed by some boulders when MK uses astral projection to show some of his cool powers. And Monkey King told himself to shrink himself. He's at a temple for a mysterious bone demon, though. Meanwhile, the Lady Bone Demon is with the Spider Queen and they still need free ingredients. MK and Pigsy, though, are preparing for a special food critic, the Golden Cicada Yum Yum, which turns out to be Tang. MK goes to wash his hands when he turns little and falls into the sink and goes into the Spider Queen's lair. When the Spider Queen hears him and starts chasing him, MK tries to run away, sees a crack in the wall, and quickly escapes. Except, he hears a little girl crying and tries to help her. She shows him the mech Spider Queen is working on and tells him to smash it. Turns out that it's a trigram furnace. Eventually sees who the girl is. She is the Lady Bone Demon. She says that the Monkey King already knows everything about her, and interesting how she's not here with him now. Basically, she just makes a lot of insecurities in MK. MK barely makes it out with his life and comes back to Pixie's noodle shop. This turns out Tang has only one follower. Tang. Overall, this episode was surprisingly important. Like at the start, I did not expect it to be important. I figured it was just going to be another filler episode. But I guess not. The next episode is called Game On and starts with MK ransacking Monkey King's house to look for something powerful to defeat the Lady Bone Demon. But he still hasn't told his friends about her. He finds a VR game believing it has the power to some unbelievably powerful new ability. He skips all the tutorials and finds a shop and purchases Wukong's Flaming Fist of Fury. It does massive damage whilst also leaving yourself wide open. MK beats all the other bosses and gets to the final boss, the Rhino King. He uses it, but the Rhino King hits him first, and MK loses. Tutorial King offers a counterattack, but Monkey Kid skips it and tries again to no avail. He's been playing for 32 straight hours, which is insane. And he finally realizes that he needs to use a counterattack, and uses Wukong's 108,000 Lee somersault, and then use his Flaming Fist of Fury to beat the Rhino King, and use it in real life too, absolutely wrecking his house. Overall, this episode was pretty short. It didn't have much happen, but it was fun. The next episode is called Shadow Play and starts off with MK and his friends watching, a shadow play. With the mayor, who is definitely not the mayor, is there, and MK leaves to get snacks. He comes back to see all of his friends have left. The shadow play was about the hero and the warrior. The stronger the hero became, the larger the light became, but so too did his shadow. And soon, the warrior was cast in a shadow. Monkey Kid thinks he's the warrior, and Monkey King is the hero. He goes back to ask the shadow play guy about the rest of the story, and starts venting to him, and eventually realizes that it's Macaque. Macaque shows how MK is the hero. He didn't have to work for anything, try for anything, and his friends were soon cast in his shadow. And Monkey Kid finally realizes, after a few days, his friends were missing, breaks the lantern his friends were trapped in, and leaves. But tells MK something powerful is coming, something he's not even near ready for. And MK finally realizes that Macaque was the warrior and Monkey King was the hero. Macaque comes back to repair the lantern, but the mayor grabs Macaque, telling him the Lady Bone Demon wants to talk and needs the lantern too. Overall, this episode moved the plot forward as it gave them another ingredient. And it also showed how MK was getting a lot, and he barely had to work for much. The next episode is called To Catch a Leaf, and starts with MK having the worst case of hiccups probably ever. Sandy tells them about the tea made from the leaves of the crimson jimson weed, which does not sound real, and decides to go to the jungle and get it. You can only get it if it's under the light of a blood moon. Turns out Hunter is also going there. Sandy treks through the jungle, being super kind to the animals and donates all his food to the various animals. He gave his snake some tea. He gave the monkeys some food. He finds the crimson ginseng weed when Hunter finds him too and chases him for it. Sandy doesn't want to fight, so he runs away. Meanwhile, MK is donating everything he has and is basically writing his will. Sandy gets lost, and Hunter talks about how he used to be a ruthless fighter and starts beating him up. But Sandy doesn't fight back. He says that if he's helping someone, he doesn't matter what it is, and helping his friends is more than anything else in the world for him. The animals start fighting Hunter and all lose, just so they can protect Sandy. So Sandy becomes really angry, releases his chakra, showing off his true power, and does an extremely powerful punch, but barely stops before hitting him. Hunter gets a single leaf and escapes. The tea helps MK heal and no longer have hiccups. Overall, this episode was decent. It shows off Sandy's true power, which doesn't get showed anywhere else, which is cool, and progresses the plot as they got another ingredient. The second and last episode of this season is called 72 Transformations. It starts off with the Spider Queen finally realizing who the Lady Bone Demon truly is, and starts rebuilding her mech immediately. Meanwhile, MK shows his power to his friends at 3 a.m., and that power is the power of 72 transformations. The power that has even eluded even the wisest masters for centuries. But he's still learning it, and has only managed to make one of his hands into a dog, and the other into a mop. When a Spider Queen robot steals Pigsy's shop sign, and he starts chasing it down. He goes into their lair and sees that they are remaking a mech, when the Spider Queen spots him and he hides. Meanwhile, the Lady Bone Demon tells the mayor to remove the unnecessary parts of the game, so the mayor kills all of the Spider Queen's minions. MK destroys the Spider Queen's mech since he didn't realize she was rebuilding it to beat the Lady Bone Demon. MK finally turns into something useful as he turns into a gorilla and starts fighting the Spider Queen. But the Lady Bone Demon arrives and the Spider Queen sacrifices herself to save the Monkey Kid. MK still has not told his friends about the Lady Bone Demon. Overall, this episode was a doozy. We finally see the Spider-Man killed, thank goodness, and shows the Lady Bones Demon full power. The last episode is called This Is the End, similar to the name for the final episode of Season 1 as well. It starts off with MK and May sparring with each other right outside of the town, whilst the Lady Bone Demon and the mayor add the last ingredients into the furnace, with the Spider Queen being one of them. It creates a really powerful mech, and MK starts fighting it, but whatever he does to the mech, it only becomes stronger. MK fails to use one of his powers, but defeats the first mech, and he finally tells his friends the truth about the Lady Bone Demon, as she brings out an even more powerful mech, making MK use every one of his powers, like duplication, his mech, but the more power he uses, the more he loses power, until he eventually tries hitting at the staff, resulting in him being unable to lift the staff. So the Lady Bone Demon takes the staff from him. But luckily, Monkey King comes just in time and saves MK. They get on a drone copter and leaves. He tells them the staff is gone, and he confesses that he wasn't on vacation, and that he was looking for a weapon to help defeat her. He brings out a map and shows that they are going on a journey to the west. And that finishes up this season. Overall, this season started out pretty weak, mostly because the Spider Queen is a terrible villain. But it all became much better as she finally got defeated and the Lady Bone Demon finally revealed herself. It also ended up on quite an intriguing cliffhanger, making you want more. This season had definitely less filler episodes and set up a great cliffhanger. And that wraps up today's video. If you came this far, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I am a newer YouTuber and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye!